Cambodia is often considered to be one of the cheapest countries in the world, but as a tourist, it can get tricky. In this video, I'm going to share with you my 2 cents on this topic so that you can save some money when you're traveling to Cambodia. Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Swathi and I'm a travel vlogger. I traveled to Cambodia just before the COVID outbreak. In fact, I was kind of stuck in Cambodia because of COVID. But in this video, we are not going to talk about sad things. We are going to talk about how expensive is Cambodia for Indians. I made a similar video about Vietnam, and in today's video, we are going to discuss Cambodia. Now, if you've seen my Cambodia videos, then you probably know that we only traveled to Phnom Penh, which is the capital of Cambodia, and Siem Reap to see the Angkor Wat temples. Now, honestly, having done that, I feel like that is such an injustice to the country because Cambodia is a beautiful country and there's so much that you can do in Cambodia. Our initial plan was to cover a lot of other places, but because of COVID, we had to get back early. Since before traveling, we did a lot of research. I know as a matter of fact that Cambodia has great beaches, and I will leave a lot of details in my description box, so be sure to check it out. And if you're planning to Cambodia, I'm sure it's going to be helpful. Now, without any further ado, let's get into the crux of this video. Starting off with the currency. Now, the currency in Cambodia is Cambodian rial, but if you're a tourist, just carry dollars with you because everywhere you go in Cambodia, they are going to accept dollars. In fact, I feel like Cambodians prefer dollars. So if you ask them like what's the cost of something, and they would tell you it in dollars. From India, what you can do is just convert some Indian rupees to US dollars and just take that. No need to exchange. There is no problem. You're definitely not going to face any problem as such because of currency. Now, when we traveled, there were two ways in which you could apply for your Cambodian visa. First was visa on arrival, or you could apply for e-visa. In our case, we traveled to Cambodia from Vietnam, and because of that, we were not really traveling by air, so we had to apply for e-visa, and at the immigration, they just granted us our visa. So if you opt for that, for e-visa, you will have to pay $36. And if you opt for visa on arrival, I think it is cheaper. It's actually only for $30. But in our case, because we were just doing that, we had to apply for e-visa. And regarding the documents that you need to carry with you, it's actually a very simple application process. All you need is your passport, your flight tickets, your hotel booking, basically the first hotel that you're going to stay in, and 2 passport size photographs. And that's pretty much it. You get your visa. Right now, Cambodia is not really accepting foreign tourists, so I don't think you can apply for your visa. But in case of an emergency, or if you're traveling for work, then I think online visa is the only procedure that is applicable right now. But if you're traveling after COVID, then you can definitely check online if visa on arrival is there or not, and you can go accordingly. Flights. This is where it gets a little expensive, but hear me out. Now, if you're traveling directly from India, you are going to spend somewhere around 22 to 25,000 rupees. But it's a good idea to combine Cambodia trip with some other countries. Say if you're traveling to Thailand or if you are traveling to Vietnam, then your tickets are going to be very, very inexpensive. Like from Vietnam or from Cambodia, you can find a flight ticket for as cheap as 3,000 Indian rupees. But if you're going to fly directly from Indian airports to Cambodia, then it's going to be a little expensive. Like I said, we traveled from Vietnam to Cambodia. So we went from Ho Chi Minh City to Phnom Penh, and for that we had to pay only $15. We traveled by bus and it was a very comfortable ride. So you can see for yourself if you're already in Thailand or in Vietnam, you can plan your trip because as it is, there are no direct flights from India to Cambodia. So it can get a little expensive. Now, coming to your accommodation, and this is where you're going to save a lot of money. Accommodation in Cambodia is honestly super value for your money. Now, if you've seen my videos, you probably know that we did not really do a lot of backpacking. In fact, we stayed in really good hotels. but they were very, very inexpensive. Like as compared to how prices are in India, I would say it was quite reasonably priced. Like in Phnom Penh, the place where we stayed, it was so beautiful, one of the best hotels that I've stayed in, and it was nothing more than 3,500 rupees. And I was traveling with a friend of mine, so it wasn't all that expensive. Now, one of the reasons why we stayed in hotels instead of hostels is because of COVID. If COVID wasn't there, then definitely we would have opted for hostels. And Cambodia has a chain of this really nice hostels. One of the hostel recommendations that I would give you is Mad Monkey. Mad Monkey hostels you would find even in other places like in Australia, I believe in Bali, and some other places also. So they are really good and very, very inexpensive. I'm talking about things like 250 rupees, 150 rupees for a dorm room, like for a bed in a dorm room. And the quality is actually pretty good. So, accommodation, you're going to save a lot of money. And even if you want to go for a luxury trip to Cambodia and if you want to stay in some really nice properties, then I think your Indian money can take you really, really far in terms of accommodation. Coming to one of the most overpriced things in Cambodia, local sightseeing. Honestly, this can get pretty expensive. If you've seen my Phnom Penh video, then you probably know that in every place we were spending around $10 to $15 for visiting museums, palaces. Now, to get inside, you need to buy a ticket, and that would cost you somewhere around $10 per person if you are a foreigner, which I think is pretty expensive. And in Angkor Wat, we ended up spending around 5,000 Indian rupees for everything. This includes ticket, a guide, transportation, and food. But like these are the things that you would actually need if you are visiting Angkor Wat, because it's quite far from Siem Reap and you will have to take a transportation, you will have to eat food. So yeah, 5,000 rupees to see temples is quite expensive. And even in Phnom Penh, for actually seeing museums and everything, it was quite expensive. Here, one thing that I want to mention is that if you keep Phnom Penh and Siem Reap aside, other places in Cambodia are not that expensive because they're about nature and natural things, and it's not really all that expensive to visit beaches and all. So, if you don't visit a lot of museums in Phnom Penh, you'll actually not end up spending so much money. And in fact, now having traveled to Phnom Penh, I do feel like you can skip a few things. You really need not go to all the museums, see all the palaces. If you're there and if you have money, then you can definitely visit those. But in terms of Angkor Wat, I personally found it to be totally worth it to spend 5,000 rupees to see those temples. I personally like history, so it was good for me. My brother had traveled to Cambodia before me. He stayed there for 40 days, and according to him, Cambodia is super inexpensive. He did find going to Angkor Wat to be quite expensive, but besides that, according to him, it was total value for money. At the end, I think it comes down to your personal preference and what you want to do in a place. You don't really have to visit all the museums and palaces. You can pick and choose what you want to see and you don't want to see. Cambodia can be expensive for tourists for this one main reason. So if you're smart about it, you can actually plan your trip on a budget. Internal transportation. For this, like in Vietnam, all that we did was use this app Grab. Grab is an app like Uber and it's super quick, super affordable. The maximum that we paid on Grab for a ride was 20-25 rupees. So definitely not all that expensive. In our case, we also had to go from Phnom Penh to Siem Reap. For that, we booked a bus. It was a 5 hours journey. It very, very comfortable. It was actually a semi-luxury kind of a bus and we had to pay only 700 rupees. So pretty good. Local cuisine there is Khmer food and it is a blend of some other cuisines like Thai food, Vietnamese, Chinese, and surprisingly even Indian. Cambodia is very high on meat, so you will find a lot of non-vegetarian options and also some exotic food like crocodile meat. You will find it on the menu. But having said that, even for vegetarians, there are good options and it is not very difficult to find vegetarian food in Cambodia. You will easily find it and not very expensive also. Having said that, if you are a vegetarian and if you're traveling to Cambodia or Vietnam, or any other country in Southeast Asia, I would definitely recommend that you carry these MTR packets with you. They are so good. I traveled with a friend of mine who is a vegetarian, and she did not really like Cambodian food all that much. In some places she really liked, in some places she just did not like, whereas for me it was all good throughout. So she had these MTR packets, and that was really good. If you're someone who likes beers, then Cambodia has this really good beer called Angkor. It is also very inexpensive. You will find it for like 30 to 40 Indian rupees from supermarkets. And if you're having it in a pub, then you would spend around 100 to 150 rupees. Not all that expensive, but definitely check it out if you like beers. So that's pretty much it. I hope that this video helps you if you're planning your trip to Cambodia. If you have any questions, then you can probably leave it in the comment box below. If I know the answers, then I will answer it myself. Otherwise, somebody else can help you. And also, if you have traveled to Cambodia and if you have any tips or tricks, then that also you can leave it in the comment box below. I'm sure it will help other travelers. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Cambodia is a beautiful country. Like I said, it is totally worth visiting. Right now, it's not open for tourism, but I really hope that this COVID will go away and we can all travel. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you all very soon with another video. Till then, take care and bye-bye.